Welcome back to another video. Today I will be drawing my life. It all started on May 19, 2002. I was born in Canada to my Canadian mother and Polish father. So now we were a happy little family of 3. And my dog Frederick Alexander. Can't forget about Frederick. When I was still a baby, my mom, dad, and I got T-boned by a truck who drove through a red light. I was crying hard all the way to the hospital. My x-ray showed up as a big blank screen with no bones, and I assumed the technicians were pretty confused. All of a sudden, from all the air I had inhaled, I let out a ginormous burp, and all my bones showed up perfectly intact. We were all okay, and now we even have a funny story to tell from that day too. When I was 6 months old, I got severely dehydrated and I had to go back to the hospital. Thanks to all the good care I received though, I recovered pretty quickly. On November 26, 2003, we welcomed my new baby brother, Daniel, to the world. Hi Daniel. At this time I was 1.5 years old and we were now a happy family of 4. When I was 1.5 years old I started taking gymnastics lessons and I loved them. When I was 3 and 4 years old my mom was expecting another baby soon. I was so excited. In May of 2006 baby David was born. When I got to meet him in the hospital I said, I love him so much, I'm going to give him 20 kisses. So my butcher lifted me up so I could give him a kiss on the forehead 20 times. Daniel and I are only 1.5 years apart, so we played a lot together as kids. Once we had a cardboard box that was taller than both of us. We each took a turn inside while the other person held the box shut. When it was my turn in the box, Daniel didn't let me back out at first. I got so scared and I thought I would be stuck in the dark box forever. My parents had always taught me about God and the Bible and brought me to Sunday school. Around Easter time, we went to a service at my grandparents' church. I remember learning that all of us have sinned and we need Jesus to save us so we can be with him in heaven forever. We just need to sincerely ask him to forgive us and choose to live a life obeying him. At the front of the sanctuary, there was a bowl with purple stones and a bowl with clear stones. The pastor said, if you want to follow Jesus, come and take a clear stone, but if you want to keep sinning, come and take a purple stone. So I took a clear stone. It's very special to me and I still have it today. When I was about 5 years old, I was drawing with chalk on my driveway. I was facing my house and a car backed into our driveway to turn around, but he didn't notice I was crouched down there. My dad watched the whole thing and boy, he must have been scared, but they stopped right before they hit me. My parents signed us up for lots of sports and activities, and at one point we had an activity every day of the week. I enjoyed most of these, but one sport I didn't love so much was soccer. When I was 6, I made a friend at soccer. Let's call her Aria. When everyone else in our class was chasing after the soccer ball, don't mind the soccer ball I drew here, Aria and I would sit together and pick the grass and blow dandelions. One week Aria didn't come back and I was told she broke her leg, so I was really sad. Even though I barely played soccer, I still won this trophy at the end of the session somehow, and that made me happy. From the time I was about 6 to about 9 years old, I loved to watch Hannah Montana. I could watch the show for hours on end. Hannah Montana was by far my favorite, but these were also the days of Phineas and Ferb and many more shows I didn't write here that dominated my days after school and childhood. For my 7th birthday, I got a Nintendo DS. DSs were sort of like phones, but every time you wanted to use another app, you had to switch the cartridge. At first, I was only allowed to play learning games, but eventually I got to play other games too. One of my best friends, Leah, and I, that's not her real name, we decided to go on the same chat room at the same time, but that didn't work because they weren't online. One of my other best friends at the time was, let's call her Macy. At a Scouts event she and I went to one time, I climbed 9 meters of a tree. I was about 1 meter from reaching the highest point we could climb when one of our leaders heard a branch crack and everyone had to climb down. We were all okay, but I was sad I couldn't make it all the way to the top. Later that year I got to make a Build-A-Bear while on a camp field trip and I named my bear after Macy. But later that day at camp, I jumped off a swing at the highest point and fractured my arm. I was crying for 6 hours afterward. At the end of 3rd grade, I found out Leah and I were not going to be in the same class the next year, and I was pretty sad about that. She ended up moving schools though, and I moved schools that September too to begin extended French. I also began Awana that year with my siblings, which is a weekly program at our church. I mentioned earlier that I was in Scouts. I earned quite a few badges, one of which was the swimming badge. One of the exercises I had to complete was front crawl. It became exhausting for me, but I kept pushing myself. All of a sudden, I stopped breathing. I'm not sure why I couldn't breathe, but it was so surreal and terrifying. Even though I was very shy, I called out as loud as I could to everyone who could hear that I couldn't breathe. Thank you for watching the video. Hopefully part 2 is coming soon. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stay golden.